The sound of the Tibetan meditation bowl. One of my favorite sounds of all, actually. Welcome to Awaken Sunday Live. It's close enough to 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and today we present a wondrous event. Everywhere you look, there you are. I think we're going to have to hit that Tibetan bowl one more time. Magic. Just love the vibration. So, hello, Jennifer. How are you? Oh, what? Kelly gets a hello and I don't? It's okay. So, I hope you enjoyed the meditation this morning. We have a fair bit to talk about today, and this is the crux of it. And no matter, I try not to spend any more time on the computer than I have to. And have to be careful about the words we use because, of course, any more time on the computer that I am required to fulfill what I wish to do. Oh, thanks, Jennifer. And I do take a little bit of time to kind of poke around and see what's the going on in the current mindset. And the only groups we really keep an eye on are more spiritually based groups, of course, some Eckhart Tolle discussion groups and the like. And it seems there's a lot of people fighting, that's for sure, as usual. There's a lot of people arguing, beating up on each other over definitions and labels and rights and not rights. And it seems that there is this quintessential loop that happens. And that's what we're going to talk about today. That loop, of course, is the egoic mind. And we have to keep coming back and back to this, again and again and again until it begins to sink in at a deeper level, because there is still a great deal of confusion. Hello, Silver Shells. How are you doing? It's been a while. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you here. And of course, before I go any further, love to all of you from the depth of my heart. I've been thinking a lot about all our group members and about all the people on the planet, and building that compassion, building that desire to, contribute compassionately to the whole. Because, of course, that's where our own salvation is, and we're going to talk about all sorts of things today. But this is truly wondrous, because once you can come to this deeper understanding of things, you'll begin to integrate the multiplicity of beings that you actually are. And this is where people run afoul of things. And there was a post today, and this person was sounding, quite honestly, very high and mighty on their discussion of about how all the enlightened masters still had their personalities, therefore they weren't enlightened, and on and on and on and on. Totally missing the point. Your personality, that which develops, okay, and we're going to redefine a few things here to try and readdress and lighten the load at the same time. So your ego is most simply defined that sense of I. Okay, you could also say it's your personality. It is that sense of I that forms the you that you're totally used to being all the time. And you notice that you, of course, evolves and changes. I mean, you're clearly not the you were when you were 10. Although you have what we call trace memories and experiences that are intact within this energetic being that you call yourself. And those vibrational nuances, those memories, are you identify with them now as part of you, but not part of you now, part of you then, but still attached to you. And there's, a various you at various stages of your life, and that you is always evolving. But further than that, those yous, the you at the time that identified with the things, the memories, the events, becomes sort of stuck in the body as well. And again, keep in mind, I'm trying to explain to you in energetic terms what's happening in plain English, based on more common lingo. That's going to make a little more sense, hopefully. And then I'm going to explain it from the vibrational point of view. So, you have a bad incident. Like for me, it was a shadowy memory of my father, who was sexually abusive to both myself and my sister when we were quite small. I have a shadowy memory of the door opening in the dark and me realizing it was the shadow of my father, and the feeling sick to my stomach, and then literally blacking out as he came closer, knowing I was there but blacked out. My mind was protecting itself at that time. So those things that were identified with that version of me, that 10-year-old version of me, if there's anything there that I'm holding on to, well, parts of that 10-year-old version of me are stuck within this whole energetic matrix still. And we pile up all these different versions of ourselves. We're never really one in our own head. We hear one voice, but if we listen carefully, that voice has different nuances to it, and those nuances will directly relate to experiences at various levels of me in various stages of my life. Is anyone being blown away by this, or is this making perfect sense? Because it's really important that this becomes clear. So if you're not truly understanding this, please, it never hurts to ask a question or indicate you need a little more clarity. What's happening is, in our identification with the bad thing that occurred to us, and don't get me wrong, there's lots of good things that occur too that get stuck, okay? But in the identification with it, there is a small dissonant energy field that is really deeply hidden. And that dissonant energy field is under the cloak of that other version of self, that 10-year-old self. And what happens is, people spend thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars going to psychologists and life counselors and life coaches, trying to, find where this is and somehow excise it. And yes, those routes do work, or they can work. Although very often what happens, as Eckhart Tolle mentions in his book, New Earth, what you get is a story of the ego. And of course, the story of the ego is the story of the experiences. So you can work through those experiences and learn to let go of the experience itself and to cease the identification, or you can walk past all of that with the understanding that you are not the sum of your experiences. And yet, you are the sum of your experiences. Now, whenever I say things like that, that usually causes people's heads to explode, or they're looking for a grenade launcher to get my head to explode. Because how do you both be of something and not of something? And this is where the, be in this world but no longer of it phrase comes in. And the reason it's put like that is to put this into words is nigh impossible, because it's something that simply lies a little bit outside, just a little bit outside the edge of the comprehension of the human mind and the thinking mind. But we're going to give it its best shot. You are here as a lens. All the experiences you gather are feeding the sea of consciousness, that which you truly are at your deepest, most honest level, your truest level. You're feeding those experiences of creation, of the creator, of your creating, back into that wholeness, into that oneness, through a one-of-a-kind unique filter that will never be seen in all of eternity. God does not repeat itself. Never, ever, ever, ever. We may look at something and think it's identical, but look closely. There's no such thing as identical. What you are is totally unique in all of creation. Totally unique. It will never be manifested again in quite this way. Never. How magical is that? That's the space you're living in right now. Now, within that space, of course, we forget that we are the conglomeration of all those memories, those experiences. You see, the reason why the ego develops and becomes pretty much fully developed and entrenched by age 15, and it's happening earlier and earlier now, is because you need only a finite amount of sensory input before the computer becomes self-aware. Now, I know that sounds a little dry and cold, but in reality, that's what we are. You have stepped into a walking interface with the relative physical universe that is designed to gather and collect data on its environment and its experiences and store and house that information, and then carry it beyond the physical back into that sea of consciousness. As a matter of fact, it is a constant, never-ending stream in both directions. This is the gift of what we are. And, you know, when something appears to be going horribly wrong in your life, it is so easy to forget that this is the truth of your existence. That does not belittle the personality that forms. That does not mean a little bit, hey, like Tom Campbell. You know, actually, I wouldn't mind if there's some. I haven't heard any Tom Campbell in actually quite a while. I don't see him coming up anymore, to be honest with you, Jennifer. But you know, this is the kicker. When you can see that in everything, when you can see that every experience you're having is simply adding and growing that artificial intelligence that you are, you can still revel in the artificial intelligence while realizing that you are so much more than that. And it's getting in contact with that larger part that everyone seems to be really frustrated about. And I have a lot of people who report a lot of mind-based egoic experiences in contact with that higher self. And that is fine. You know, when we have a near-death experience, that was another thing that come up. So someone wanted to know, they felt their mission was just to find out what happened after death. And I thought, it's like, well, that's a really easy mission, because guess what? You're going to die, and you're going to find out. Don't worry about it. I've died a few times. Leave it alone. There's nothing to fear. Live. Live. Enjoy. Now. Live. This is what everything is exhorting us to do. This is what every spiritual text is telling us to do. It is to go ahead and live, regardless of whether we're all wrong and we're only a single soul that's going to be here one time and never come back here again. And I can tell you that that is crock. Hands down. No matter what we're going to talk about, at the end of the day, what we're here to do is live. To live and have the experiences. Now, you know, it's very easy, and I find this the most convenient thing that happens, because, as I said, ego is quite used to and loves to split itself to protect itself. It has already split itself into, usually, depending on your life, hundreds of different versions of you. And each one is still resident there. Most of them are quite quiet, but every once in a while you'll notice one will pop up. And it'll pop up when something that's happening today most closely matches what happened then. And of course, the old reactions, the old other person. Have you ever wondered why that happens to you? Have you ever wondered why you can be sitting there in meditative bliss and then half an hour later be acting like you forgot all about spirituality even existed? There'll be a trigger event. And that trigger event will closely match something that's happened in your past, and the consciousness that you were will come boiling back up and react. And at the end of it, if you pay attention, you'll feel like you weren't even really there. You'll go like, what the heck just happened? Have you ever felt that? Where you have one of those run-ins and things don't go well, and it's like you're waking up from a bad dream and you go, what did I just do? Like, how did that go that way? The reason it went that way is you got switched off like a switch. And the consciousness that had the issue with something very close to that in the past got turned on and reacted. So it's okay. You don't have to, you know, I really want you to give up on killing this egoic sense of self. I don't destroy my computer. My computer is valuable. My computer can accent my life positively. It allows me to reach out to others. It allows me to seek information. It allows me to communicate, to explore. It allows me many things, and it's all in the right use of it. The same thing applies to this highly advanced supercomputer that is speaking to you right now through my mouth, called Garhen, who is that is ego. You will always have it. It cannot be destroyed. You cannot get rid of it. But it is fully malleable. Once you have tasted the more, once you have experienced the larger being that you are, you can be both simultaneously. You can allow ego to be, and ego will come to reign. It will come to stand beside you. It'll take time. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a journey. And you know, I got to tell you, I spent years running. And I have done everything in my life epically, okay? I didn't run across a road or run down the street. I walked across deserts. I walked across the Himalayas. I walked everywhere, alone most times, always running, always searching to find an answer, always trying to escape. There was a problem though. No matter where I was, there I was. No matter how far I went, I was still there. No matter what situation I removed myself from, no matter what environment I came into, I was still there. That I refused to leave. Your I will not leave you. You know, there's one thing about the relative world. You need both halves. You need both the I and the not I. The problem is we suffer from the vast majority of humanity never experiencing the not I. That's the rub. It's the prison of the unreal. It's a prison that we have created. And the prison is that the concept of I is all there is. That anything outside of my concept of self cannot be me. It must be something else because it looks like it's behaving on its own. It looks like it's doing whatever it's doing on its own. So how could it possibly be me? Dropping the prison means understanding that you can be both in the cage and walk through the open door out of the cage at any moment should you need. As a matter of fact, I recommend keeping your eyes focused on the outside of the cage. The mind, that voice within, will always be part of you. It goes quiet when you release everything, when you finally let go, when you finally surrender it all. It will shut up. And you will bring it out when necessary. You won't even have to bring it out. You will find that it, of course, comes out on its own as required. But you'll notice that the temperament changes. Be gentle on yourself. You know, you are here to have this glorious experience, and all around you there are pressures being put on us. The stresses of work, of trying to survive, of our insane, backwards, unconscious societies. And don't add a spiritual pressure to somehow get past yourself. This unique viewpoint, this unique lens that you represent has been specifically crafted to help the being that you are becoming awaken consciously to its connection to that one. You are a gift in your current state, right now, at this moment. Spirit, that observer within you, okay, we know this one. That is that quiet voice, that somehow knowing beyond words that we feel. That intuitive twinge that tells us that the person we are with is open and safe. We can be both at the same time. As a matter of fact, you can never escape being both at the same time. But as I said, we suffer from the idea that we're only the one. We've lost contact. This is where I'm going to switch the screen around, and I really hope it's, I may have to reload my browser chat window, so I do apologize if I do, because I want to carry on now into what's happening with October. And for that, I'm going to change the look of things here briefly. So, look at that. Magic. And I'm just going to put the browser back in and everything should reappear magically now. Well, look at that. It worked. So this leads us right into the October challenge, you know. There's a lot of people out there who are frustrated. There's a lot of confusing information out there. There's a lot of information to try and convince you that you need something in order to get something. I'm offering this to anybody and everybody who wants to, okay? I'm going to dedicate the whole month of October to serving all of you like never before. Rather than producing a meditative video that you can listen to once a day for 30 days, I'm going to be there with you twice a day live. We're going to take a 30-day journey together where I will lead you through meditatively, step by step. And the reason of doing this is for me and for you, for all of us, because we cannot be separated. We as a human race need to awaken. We really, really do. And we will one day. But you know what? We have the opportunity to do it the easy way. We don't have to do it the hard way. And the easy way can seem, as Buddha says, bitter in the beginning. But trust me, it will be sweet honey at the end. What I'm talking about is a 31 day, it's October, journey in letting go of everything that you may be holding on to and going inside to find yourself. I will meditate with you twice a day. On the evening one, we will open it up for discussion. If there's people who need to talk, of course, you know I'm always available. The idea is to make a commitment with yourself that I will support you in. I will support you by being there twice a day to meditate with you. Your commitment will be in your choice to make seeking the kingdom first, finding the kingdom within you, your first priority in your existence, to the best of your ability. This involves such things as putting down the devices when not necessary. It involves such things as purifying the vessel as much as you can by avoiding dead foods and unhealthy foods. What I'm really saying is that if you want to know for yourself, no amount of talking, no amount of speculation, no amount of mind stuff will ultimately do it for you. It won't. There's nothing you can buy, no money you can spend that will give you that experience. Only your dedication, your desire, your heartfelt desire to know the divine personally. That's it. That's really it. I'm going to flesh this out a little bit more over the next week or so, and of course, I would ask people to really think about it. We're going to hold it on the Facebook group page. I think that is the very best way so that we'll get as much involvement as possible. It won't be confusing or hard to find in any way. I really hope that people consider this to take this challenge. You know, I've talked to Kelly about this too, about her taking this. You know, a lot of years ago, Tony Robbins said something that really rang true to me. He said, we will only continue to do something until the suffering over what we're doing becomes greater than our fear of doing something else. And I think that's what it really comes down to. And this is another reason why you never want to beat yourself up over having a sense of I. That egoic sense of I is you in your manifestation here. And it is also not you. You are more, grander than that. If you don't know that in your deepest heart, if these words don't cause a resonance of that feeling of oneness that threatens to overload your entire system, then maybe consider participating in this challenge for the month of October. That's about all I have for today. We are going to go live on Facebook a little bit later, and we're going to talk about this Awaken October challenge so that a lot of other members who don't use YouTube may get their hands on it. Thank you all so much for being here today. The miracle of our being is that we are both corporal and divine. We are both relative and absolute. We are both mortal and immortal. And it is just our human mind that has a hard time wrapping itself around that concept. Once you can agree with yourself to be okay with not knowing, to be okay with not being able to conceptualize it, to just allow yourself to live it, you'll find that things will smooth out. They really will. Again, all my love. Namaste. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.